Welcome to the Survivor to Thriver show with your happiness expert, Samia Bano. Do you feel stuck, silent, and stressed? Is something hurting your heart and soul? Are you burning yourself out? If so, you are in the right place because this is the podcast people from all over the world join in to learn exactly how to stop suffering and start living with inner peace and joy. Let's get started. Last episode, I was sharing with you how when I was in college, I got to this point in my healing and growth that I was able to shift my focus away from my quest for inner peace to starting to think about my future and what I was going to do with my life, particularly in the context of what am I going to do as a career, as a job? Am I going to go to graduate school or not? You know, it's just such a natural part of the experience, the college student experience, where, as students, we are asking each other these questions all the time. Hey, what's your major? What classes are you taking? And everyone around us, even when we are off campus, in our families, in our friends' circles, just anyone you strike up a conversation with, it's like, hey, what are you doing? What do you do? Oh, I'm a student. Oh, great. What's your major? What are you studying? And then the closer you get to the time of graduation, everybody wants to know what your after graduation plans are. Have you got any work or jobs lined up? Do you know what you want to do? What kind of job, what kind of work you want to do? Are you going to go to graduate school? And I had at least 7 different ideas that were really, each one of those 7 different ideas felt to me like it was something, it was like a really, really strong possible, like I could realistically have decided to just do one of those 7 things, dedicate my life to, and made it my life's work. Because I saw people doing that. And for each one of those 7 things, there was something about it that really, really pulled me towards it, that really attracted me towards it. For example, one of the 7 things was an idea that I had for starting a school of teaching women self-defense. I had actually spent the last several years first learning self-defense for myself, and then I even got into teaching it a little bit. This actually started when I was still in my 2nd year of college, and I took a self-defense class. I think in one of my earlier episodes of the podcast, I actually talked in detail about the impact that going through a self-defense class that I took in college had on me. It was an extremely empowering experience. And so after I got done with that class, I actually took another class, and so I could, continue to learn and get more advanced in my learning of self-defense. And then it actually happened that we were faced with deep budget cuts in our college, and they cut out the self-defense class from the curriculum on campus. And I got together with some of my other girlfriends from the self-defense class, and we decided that, hey, this is something so important, this is something so needed, that if the school is not going to offer it as a class, then we're going to take matters into our own hands, and we're going to create a club, a student club on campus, that we and make that the forum from where we will begin to teach each other, like peer-to-peer learning, and teach other students, other women, other girls what we learned from when we were in the class. And at the same time petition the college and work to get the class back. And actually it was a really, really, really great experience for me, because not only once we created the club and we started teaching our fellow students what we had learned in the class, oh my God, that just in itself was so great. But then we were also doing this campaign where we were petitioning our college to bring the class back, and it actually was successful, and we were able to bring the class back. It was a really great, empowering experience. And after that, I transferred to UCLA, and I continued to engage in my practice of self-defense and working with other groups on the UCLA campus now to promote the learning and practice of self-defense. So this was, an idea that I'd already been engaged in. I was already working on it. And I was like, hey, I really enjoy this. I enjoy practicing self-defense. I enjoy teaching it to my fellow students. So it was, for me, in my mind, a very viable idea that I could open a school where it would be focused and dedicated to teaching women self-defense. Or I was like, well, even if I don't open my own school, maybe I could go find an already existing school and teach women self-defense there. So it was just one idea. It was very viable, and there was something about it that really, really attracted me. But then there was a part of me that felt like there's something missing. Like, this is not enough. See, it's not enough. That I want to do more than just teach women self-defense. Because learning self-defense, practicing self-defense, was just part of what the solution had been for me. But it wasn't the whole solution. It was an important part of the solution, but it wasn't the whole solution. And so I was like, okay, well, so there are other things that need to be done. So another thing that needs to be done is, like, we just need to educate people about that, hey, sexual abuse, sexual violence, relationship violence, all of these things are realities in our lives, and all the people around us. You see, every one of us is being impacted by these things going on, either directly or indirectly. We need to raise awareness about them. We need to educate people about them. And not just so that, not only so that we can prevent these things from happening, but also so that we can help survivors heal. And again, throughout my time in college, I'd become involved with different groups on campus, like the Clothesline Project, and I was like working with them already on these issues. I even got trained while I was at UCLA. I went through a 40-hour training in becoming a sexual violence awareness advocate, which was a training that was about, okay, how do you talk to people about these issues? Because sexual violence is a very sensitive issue. in many respects is still a taboo issue. And when you begin to talk about it with other people, you see it can bring up all kinds of emotions and fears for people. So you have to learn how to talk about these things in a way that people are really able to hear you, rather than just shut down because they're feeling so afraid, or if they get triggered, if someone gets triggered, that, it's like, how do you handle that situation? All those kinds of things. So I actually went through a training to learn to do that, and I found that extremely empowering, extremely healing for myself as well. So that was another really, really viable idea that, again, is something I was already doing. I was like, we need to do this. This work needs to be done. And there are people who have dedicated their lives to doing this work. And they're, so I could just as easily have made that the focus of my life's work. And again, there was something about it that really attracted me, that, it really spoke to me. But again, there was something like, okay, there's something missing here too. Again, it's a really important part of what the solution has been for me in terms of my own survivor to thriver journey, my own healing process, but it's not the whole solution. And and it's not just that it wasn't the whole solution, it was more like, in the context of everything that work required, there were some aspects of it where I felt really confident and good in terms of, yes, I have the strengths, the strengths that I have, the knowledge that I have is applicable to this work and will be very well used in this work. But there were other aspects of that work where I was not feeling so confident and able to take it on, or not motivated to take on those other aspects of the work, because they didn't speak to my strength, they didn't speak to my passion. So it was like, there's some things I like about it, some things I don't so much. So, but the problem was that there were like so many things like this, and I was just finding myself like, oh my gosh, how do I make a decision? And this, by the way, was way before I had learned how to connect with my heart and seek the guidance of my heart, or at least do it in a conscious way or at will. At that point in my life, I was lacking that skill. Okay, so I had to deal with that sense of confusion and do the best that I could to work my way through it. So as I was going through this process of trying to figure everything out and figure out the best solution for me, the best way forward for me, the best career option for me, there was a very, very important life lesson that I learned. And this is the life lesson that actually we don't need to know what the perfect answer is. Sometimes there may not even be a perfect answer that exists, because there is never just one way to achieve any goal. You see? And insofar as there are multiple ways to achieve any goal, there are also pros and cons that are associated with any given approach that you take, any given solution that you implement. So from that perspective, there may be no perfect answer. And one thing that I found happening with me at that period of my life is that this this desire that I had to find a perfect answer was sort of like holding me back from taking action. Until I got to a point where I realized, okay, you know what? It doesn't matter if I don't have the perfect answer. I don't need to have the perfect answer. I just need to narrow it down to the best answer that I can figure out for right now and just start moving ahead with it. Just figure out the best answer you can for right now and just start moving ahead with it. Knowing that as I move ahead with it, I may need to change something about what I'm doing. May even need to change directions completely. But until I start walking down the path, until I start implementing the best answer that I can come up with now, you see, I may not be in a position to have, to be able to make a decision on, hey, do I keep going with this or do I need to do something different? Or if I need to make some adjustments, what are those adjustments that I need to make? So sometimes you just have to move forward, just begin to move forward, doing the best you can with what you know and what you have before you can figure out what the best answer is. If there is best answer. So if you find yourself in this kind of a situation, one of the things that I learned and found to be really helpful for me is to think about it, think about, okay, what are my strengths? Like, what are my top strengths? Identify, make a list, make an actual list of what you think your top 5 strengths are. And you can do this in a few different ways. And I actually encourage you to do it in not just one way, but do it in all the different ways that you can think of. Or that, and some of those I'm going to share with you right now. So one of those ways that you can come up with a list of your top 5 strengths is to just think from your mind. And you're like, hey, what do I believe my top 5 strengths are, and write them down. You know, another really, really great way to figure out what your top strengths are is to ask other people in your life. So ask your friends, ask your family members, ask your co-workers, anyone that you think knows you, has had significant interactions with you, and ask a few different people who have seen you in different contexts and different situations. So, for example, you could ask one family member and one co-worker and just one friend from some other circle, other part of your life. So that way these different people have seen you in different contexts. And so they can, when you say to them, hey, I'm wondering, can you give me some feedback on what my top strengths are? Because I really want to improve myself and I want to do better and I want to identify what my strengths are so I can build on my strengths to help lift myself up even further. And I'm wondering what you think my best strengths are. What are my 1 or 2 top strengths? And see what other people have to say. And some of those things may actually surprise you. some things that other people see in you as a strength, you may be like, oh, really? I never thought about that as a strength that I have. Because for me, that's so normal. That's so easy. It's just like a no big deal thing. And so you totally ignore it, or take it for granted, rather, I should say. But for other people, they perceive that as a real strength in you. And there's a lot of value in gaining that kind of awareness of how other people perceive you and what they appreciate about you. Another thing that you can do is there's so many different personality tests and so forth that you can take. And, different personality tests that highlight your personality type, your strengths, and so on and so forth. A couple of them that I really like, there's the VIA Character Strengths Test. So if you go, just Google VIA Character Strengths Test. And there's different websites where you can go and take this test for free, and gives you your top character strengths. There's another test that I really like. It's called True Colors. And it's also a personality test, but they also highlight the different strengths that you have, among other things. And both of these, VIA Character Strengths Test and the True Colors Test, I really like them. They're really easy to do, and I think their results have been shown to be really effective. Effective is not the right word, but relevant and accurate. So try all these 3 different ways if you can. Take a personality test, get some feedback from your friends and family members on your top strengths, and reflect on what your own strengths are from your own mind, from your own perspective. And then you can look at all these different sources and sort of consolidate them into one master list of, okay, here are my top 5 strengths. Okay, so now, once you have identified your top strengths, then ask yourself, okay, what can I do that allows me to use these strengths that I have so that I can help others and help myself by helping others? So it's like your goal, because remember, we're talking about living life, meaning, and purpose. So life, meaning, and purpose is not, remember, our universal life, meaning, and purpose, our core human life, meaning, and purpose is to love and be loved. So that's our general universal human purpose. And your specific purpose will always support this universal purpose. So it will never be, your true life, meaning, and purpose will never be something that is selfish and only just about you. No, it'll always be something that allows you to help others and help yourself. Help others and help yourself. Help others as a way of helping yourself even. So when you ask yourself, okay, what can I do to help others that also allows me to help myself? And you add this element of, and I can use my strengths in the process, that's a great way to begin to get clarity on what your life meaning and purpose may be, and what the work of your life, living your life purpose, may look like. So give this a try, and if you find yourself struggling with this, let me know. Go to my website at www.academyofthriving.com. Click on the Contact Us page, and you'll see different options for how you can connect with me. So email me, or set up a phone call, or send me a message on Facebook or Twitter, and let me know what you're struggling with, and then I'll be happy to connect with you personally and guide you through whatever it is that you're struggling with. All right. So until we connect next time, I wish you lots of peace and joy.